Welcome back to Linked by Golf, the podcast exploring the connections and journeys of people linked by the game. I'm your host Ross McGuire, and this week I'm joined by Martin Gilbert, one of the most influential figures in Scottish golf and the former CEO of the Aberdeen Group. Martin has played a pivotal role in the growth of golf in Scotland and supported many amateur golfers who've gone on to successful professional careers. In this episode we discuss sponsorship, data-driven performance, the mental side of elite golf and what it really takes to build a lasting legacy in the game. Let's go over to Martin.
Martin, thanks so much for joining.
Looking forward to it.
Brilliant. And then we're going to start with just reflecting on your support of golfers and golf events in Scotland, Martin. When you look back at the people and projects you've supported, what stands out most to you over those years?
A lot of stuff. I mean, I would say the success of the Scottish Open would be up there. The success of the Ladies Scottish Open, both of which have become big events. I mean, the Scottish Open is now the strongest event on the European Tour, and I suspect the Ladies Scottish Open is the same on the Ladies Tour. But also the success of all the young golfers that we supported through their amateur days. And I think that's been incredible when I look back, how many of the people that we sponsored when we were sponsoring the amateur team and sending them to the Middle East and South Africa, how many of them have gone on to have great careers. So yeah, it's been really amazing.
Fantastic. And how did your involvement in the sponsorship and backing people begin? How did you get into that, Martin?
I actually, it's difficult to remember. I would say we were always interested in supporting grassroots golf. There were a lot of people at Aberdeen who were involved in grassroots golf who wanted us to support. And then I suppose the big one came when Alex Salmond asked us to sponsor the Scottish Open because the long-term sponsor Barclays had sort of ended their long, as I say, very long sponsorship of the Scottish Open, and we were in danger of losing what is the crucial week in the UK calendar to, I think it was either Norway or Sweden. So Alex was very keen that we retain it and put some money in from the government. We put some money in, and that sort of started that long-term relationship with the European Tour and the event becoming what it is today, with the strongest field, as I've already said, in the calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just in terms of the people, you mentioned some of the younger players there. Is there any of those players and moments that just stand out now you've stepped back from your daily business life where you reflect and think, wow, that was incredible what happened there?
I mean, I suppose, look, if you take the top Scottish player today, Bob McIntyre, I mean, we sponsored him. But I suppose the long association we had with Paul Lawrie and just the amazing success he had, and the sort of 15 Dunhills I probably played with him were sort of highlights. I would say the player I admire the most would be Paul, just because the incredible work ethic he had to get to where he is or was at the top of the game. I mean, people forget he started life as a 4 handicap assistant in a pro shop. He wasn't the sort of the +5, +6 golfers that come out of a US university and go straight on to tour. So I would say his work ethic was exceptional.
Yeah, and I mean, he's done so much with his foundation. Of course, Stephen Gallagher's doing similar work as well, but Paul's foundation is supporting so many golfers, not just at the top end, but people just to get inspired into golf and bringing younger folk into the game. I think it's fantastic what he's doing and what he has done already.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I mean, obviously, I still support the foundation personally, and it's incredible how much he does actually there. And as you say, not just at grassroots, at every level, he's keen to put something back into the game. And his contribution to the game has been amazing. And of course, he's now got the very good, successful Paul Laurie Golf Center again, where people can practice and and just as I say, just his exceptional contribution is to be admired.
Yeah, and I mean, he's picked up the slack from, the Euro Pro Tour not being there anymore, and the Tartan Pro
Yeah,
Tour looks like it's going from strength to strength, getting incredible fields and a lot of backing and some great players playing in it and providing a pathway for players as well. It's great.
yeah. He's quite tight, Paul, as you know. So he plays in all the events to win money as well. He contributes the money and then tries to win it back.
Well, you got to put some in to get it back, right? And then just in general, Martin, with your own experience being so vast in terms of sport related to backing from companies, what do you think about business leaders, you know, throughout Scotland? What would it do for them to invest in the community, and what what did they get back, and what did you get back from doing that? Now, obviously, there's the events happening, but what did it mean to you when you were doing those things and backing people and events in Scotland?
Well, we were very conscious of building the brand at Aberdeen, so we would try and finish the men's event as late as possible in the day to capture the US market. Because for us, the US was a massive market, and of course, they're avid watchers of golf, as well as obviously on Sky. So there is there's a lot of interest in golf in those markets. And then the ladies, we would try and finish early so that we would capture the Asian market. Because if you look at the top, if you look at the LPGA, a lot of the players are from Asia. So watching golf in Asia, watching women's golf in Asia far surpasses women's golf in the US. As you know, US love winners, so obviously every week someone's going to win on the men's tour. But when you look at the ladies, often the winners are from Asia. So so hence the huge interest in women's golf in Asia.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just looking at Scotland more broadly, I guess, and then within the context of world golf, why do you think golf does hold such a special place in Scottish life? What do you think it means to us as a country?
Well, I think it's obviously the golf in this country, golf in Scotland is accessible to everyone. I think that's the big difference. When you come down to London or and so on, A, the time to get to a golf course, B, the cost. Most of the good courses are member only, as you know. Whereas up in Scotland, some of the top the top courses are accessible to the public. Yeah, it's just the culture in Scotland is much more grassroots, crosses all the social divides as well. Whereas obviously in America, it's usually tended to be more of a um, I was going to say rich man sport, but that's not correct. I would say more of a wealthy person sport. I would say, and certainly that's probably the case in Asia as well. That it tends to be more the wealthy sort of parents would train their children to be these great golfers they are today.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you touched on, as well as having, of course, your own tournament that you set up and worked related to the Scottish Open, but you also played in the Dunhill. So, what was the Dunhill experiences like for you? How did they go?
Yeah, it was great. Look, I played in 20, there's been 24 Dunhills and I've played in all 24 or so.
There you go.
It's been incredible. I mean, as I say, I played a lot with Paul. He won the first one. I played with him, so
Lucky charm.
yeah, and it was the most incredible experience. Playing in the final group of a European Tour event is a unique experience that money can't buy. So it was just incredible. And of course, it's so terrifying, really, because you got TV cameras everywhere, you've got crowds. You just try and keep out of the way, actually. But it was as you know, Paul won it with the shot of the year, holding out for three on the 18th. So it was incredible to to be to be there and see it, because it was probably up there, apart from the Open, with his biggest win. So incredible.
Yeah, I think there's been so few Scottish winners of big events over the last few years that
Yeah,
Paul, I guess, has just been an inspiration for so many people. And like his talent level is incredible, but it's his work ethic that's really
yeah,
got him there. His work
yeah.
ethic is off the charts.
I mean, he just practices and practices and practices. I remember once seeing him one evening at the Dunhill. I can't remember. I was passing the range, and he was the only guy on the range, just hitting irons. Just, I suppose, just making sure his swing was smooth for the next day. But he had an incredible golf swing. I mean, a bit like Mark Warren, who I've played quite a few Dunhills with. I mean, he's up there with the great ball strikers I've ever played with.
Yeah. Yeah, Mark is incredible. I've been lucky enough to play with Mark as well. And yeah, it was really interesting. I remember playing with Mark at Glasgow Gales, and we're playing into the wind in one of the holes, like the 15th or something. And like I'm standing there with driver thinking, can I keep this in the planet? And Mark just pulled out a 3-wood and just hit it off the deck and really ripped it very, very low. And I thought, God, this guy's hitting a lower with 3-wood than he is with driver. This is phenomenal. But he
Yeah,
just had that ability to hit the right shot at the right time. So yeah, it was a real
I mean,
privilege getting to play with him.
yeah, I think I saw the best hole of golf I've ever seen played with him, which was into a gale on the 14th of the old course, par five. He hit driver, 3-wood to go and put it on the green for three. So I
Wow.
don't know how long that hole is, 550, but it does show how strong the wind was, so that he needed to hit driver, 3-wood.
Yeah, it's funny. I've said this in the podcast a few times that people have this impression of the old course being really easy. Try playing it in a 30 or 35 mile an hour
Yeah,
wind into your face in the back nine. You'll soon realise it's not an easy place to play
yeah.
golf when it's like that.
The only defense these links courses have is the wind, really, and normally it is windy. So yeah, that's the defense for these courses.
Absolutely. And then just looking at life and leadership, Martin. So, how did your journey from law to finance unfold? What took you into the path you took in the end?
I don't know, probably luck. I mean, I was lucky that I was born in, although my parents are from Aberdeen, I was born in Malaysia. So I learned to play golf out in Malaysia with very, very famous teacher, very famous golfer called Norman von Nida. And most people are far too young to have heard of Norman von Nida, but he was an exceptional Australian player. He never won the Open, but I think he was runner-up about 3 or 4 times. But that gave me the knowledge, or uh, the instinct that the Far East was going to be a big part of the growth of the world. So when I came back to Aberdeen, I joined a law firm that was a money manager, and we bought ourselves out in '83. But we largely 1983, that is, by the way, which is long before most people are born these days. Uh, but we built a business on managing money from America and Europe into Asia, basically. And so I suppose the luck I had in life was being born in Malaysia, and then coming back to Aberdeen for school, and then being in the right place at the right time when Aberdeen Asset Management was formed, and we built it up into the biggest independent asset manager in Europe by expanding first to London from Aberdeen and then globally. But our office in Singapore was one of the um, key parts of Aberdeen's success.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an incredible growth story. And am I right in saying that the company merged or you took over Standard Life as well, which was a huge name at the time?
Yeah, yeah, we merged with Standard Life in I think 2016, 17, something around about there. Then, yeah, it was a massive merger, and again took us into the big league. But after that happened, I think I stayed about 2 years, and then thought it's time to retire and do other things because I was already on the board of Sky at that time, and Sky was the Sky's the best company to be on the board of if you like sport. I mean, yeah, I could,
I bet you.
I could go to any sporting event I wanted when I was on the board of Sky. I used to go Formula One, go into the where the TV guys were sitting in the paddock, or cycling. We used to sponsor the cycle team, and obviously football, everything. It was amazing company.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in terms of that journey, what lessons did you learn along the way? I mean, I'm sure there was plenty, but what kind of things stick out to you? You mentioned the early growth and think about, the Far East in terms of growth, but what other things were there in
I
terms of leadership?
Do you know what? I think it's all about being resilient, and there's no one more resilient than pro golfers. I mean, it's such a tough sport, but being a CEO is also a very a tough gig in that you've no real friend. Your friends are other CEOs, maybe one or two people in the company, but it's a very lonely job, I would say. It's easy when things are going well, but the true test is when things are going wrong. So yeah, I tried a few times to get things wrong at Aberdeen, but largely we sorted them out. So that's what I would say: resilience and the ability to sort of knuckle down when the going gets tough. Because most people give up when the going gets tough.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's true. I guess people would say the path of least resistance is the one that most folk will take, and it is
Yeah,
harder to lean in when the going gets
yeah,
tough, right?
yeah. It is. It's really, really tough. I mean, there is a tendency that you could, give up or hand over to someone else, but you got to resist that and just stick to it. As I say, that's the sign of a truly good CEO. It's how good you are in the tough times. Good CEOs have really, really proven themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And was there any mentors that you had along the way, and what kind of things did you learn from them?
No, yeah, I mean, there's always people you admire in the industry. The great investors. I always love reading up what they do and what they invest in, and but I was largely because I went back to school in Aberdeen. uh, I was pretty I was pretty independent. So yeah, I traveled the world going backwards and forwards to Malaysia when I was at school in Aberdeen. So yeah, yeah, people I like are. In fact, I'll put out a post in the next day or two. The One of the great heroes I had was Sir John Templeton, who was one of the great investors in the world. And those sort of things, I love following them. The really good investors.
Brilliant. And then has anyone approached you to mentor them, either in business or in sport and most likely golf, but have people approached you for
Yeah,
mentorship?
yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. But I'm always wary of committing to doing anything unless I can do it properly. So I always think there must be someone better than me who's got more time than me to help them. So to mentor them. But yeah, I do. Obviously one of the things we did at Aberdeen was we took on about 80 interns a year and took on about 30 grads a year. So, I mean, London and the asset management industry is full of people who trained at Aberdeen, who we trained and brought on because we were great believers in building your own talent. So the analogy in football would be a nursery, bringing players in through a nursery rather than going out spending huge amounts of time and money buying players. Because the statistics, I was just looking at some statistics recently on transfers, and only I think Manchester United were some of the worst. Only 20% of their
Definitely.
transfers, only 20% of their transfers work. Whereas Liverpool were quite good; they were 70%. But I mean, but you look at the guy from is it Brentford or I can't remember which one. It's Brighton or Brentford. The guy, he's the genius. But he is the absolute genius. He uses data. He goes and buys players and sells them on for a fortune. And so that's the other way of doing it, is using data to buy good players.
Yeah, I once was fortunate enough to meet the guy. I'm trying to remember his second name. I think his name was Billy, but the guy from Moneyball, the actual
Yeah.
person, not
Mm.
just. I wasn't Brad Pitt I met, obviously, but yeah, he came along to a sales conference I was at and did a speech, and it was phenomenal,
Yeah.
absolutely phenomenal what he did. And I love
Yeah.
the movie as well, but exactly what you're saying, and I guess trying to be in sport, if you can be business-like in your decision
Yeah.
but not completely just driven by business numbers, then that can lead you to great success, right? We've seen it with Man United seems to be going completely down the business route and they're not necessarily picking the right players, for
Mm.
example. But the businesses that get it right in terms of football are teams like Brighton.
Yeah.
They're not spending a huge amount of money and then they're getting a great return.
Oh, is he the guy that's also taken the investment in Hearts? And
Might be. Yeah,
it's been
could be.
astonishing. So it's not a coincidence that they're doing really well. One of my friends has bought Sunderland, and he's done the same. He bought it for nothing, and I can't remember 20, 30 million, and there they are near the top 4 or 5 in the Premier League. So it does show that if you're good at this, you could do really well.
Yeah, I'm sure they bought Jude Bellingham's brother, Job,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
moved him on to a German team as well and made
The
significant
one
money
that
on him.
the same one that he played for, Jude
Yeah,
Bellingham.
oh, Dortmund, I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
Borussia
yeah.
Dortmund.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then what about yourself, Martin? I mean, clearly you're still involved in a lot of things, but what keeps you busy these days? Are you getting to play much golf?
Yeah, I play enough. Yeah, I suppose when I retired, I joined this tiny little fintech at the time called Revolut, and it's grown to being the biggest digital bank in Europe. So it's taken more time than I'd bargained for. But yeah, no, I can play as much golf as I want, and I can go skiing as I want, and so on. So yeah, no, it's great. Life's good, but I'm getting old, so I've lost a lot of distance at golf. So that's the most annoying thing.
Oh, we
It's
can
not
get
being
you connected with some of the guys that have been in the pod and get you some distance back. We can do that,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
problem.
I need some distance these sort of aids, definitely.
Yeah, we'll get you down to Stirling Golf Club to meet Scott Borman.
Yeah.
Get you in the Thunderdome, and we'll get you some yardage back. And then, in terms of the next generation of Scottish golfers and entrepreneurs, Martin, what do you hope to see coming through? What are you looking for?
Well, it's great to see the golfers doing so well, isn't it? I mean, especially Bob. I mean, he's now a world superstar. I mean, It's incredible,
Yeah.
I think. So it shows he's it's questionable whether he's the most talented, but he's certainly taken the opportunity better than anyone else has. I mean, he's really gripped the opportunity and moved on hugely. And a good guy as well. That's the interesting thing.
I think the thing that's interesting with Bob is he seems to get better under pressure,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
is I would reflect on Paul Laurie being like that as well. Paul certainly
Yes.
never backed away from victories
Uh,
when he had the opportunity. And you look at Bob when he say he lost the Scottish Open, but really Rory McIlroy beat him the year
yeah.
before. But then the next year, you could see that Bob just had the determination. He's like, I'm not going to lose this. No way am
Yeah.
I losing this.
Yeah.
And he effectively won it twice because he thought he was that year when Rory pipped him. He
Yeah.
played like he was playing to win, and he effectively did win because he had no idea that Rory could catch him. It was really brilliant to see. And that came through in the US Open as well this year.
Yeah. And you see Rory, you got to say, when Rory needs to produce a shot, he can produce it like in Dubai last week. But I
Yeah.
would say that shot that Paul Laurie played to the 18th when he won the Open is probably one of the great golf shots under pressure that anyone has ever hit. I think Jack Nicklaus said that to him. It's
Yeah.
one of the greatest golf shots he'd ever seen under pressure. And I remember the commentators at the time saying, "Lay up, lay up."
Yeah, and he did. I'm sure he had to. Paul had it very close in 17 as well with quite a long iron.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
he basically did it twice in a row, didn't he? And I think
yeah.
was it
No,
4 iron or something he hit?
yeah,
4 iron
yeah,
into 18.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal. So, just getting to some quick fire questions here, Martin. Best golfer you've played with, and I'm guessing Paul might be expecting you to say him, but who's the best golfer you played with?
Well, actually, yeah, it would be him. Or I remember in one Dunhill we played with Retief Goosen
Wow.
as the other pro, and
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, he was world number 2 or 3 at the time, so he was certainly exceptional. I played with Rory a couple of times. He's exceptional. I mean, he is the best driver of a golf ball I've ever seen. Um, Retief was probably the best striker of an iron I've ever played with, Retief Goosen. But Paul, yeah, I mean, just for sheer grit and determination, when he needed to, he could produce it as well. I would say Mark Warren is as good a swinger as I've ever seen, swinger of a golf club. So yeah, they're all exceptional, though. I mean, the difference isn't it? The difference between winning or losing is like 0.25 of a shot per round. I mean, it's absolutely frightening. It's one shot per tournament makes
Yeah.
makes all the difference to your year. I mean, it's incredible. If you improve by one shot, 2 shots per tournament, say, I mean, you're in the top 10 or something. I mean, it's incredible. These guys are really great players. They just gotta make sure they make no mistakes.
Yeah. And I mean, I listen to a lot of different golf podcasts and varying amounts of data come out, but I think it might have been Eddie Pepperell, but there was certainly a golfer I was listening to recently on one of them, and they'd been talking to someone at the start of the season basically about what they need to work on. It's maybe their coach, and their coach is like, do you know what? You hit one more green around and hole one more putt, and you go from like 150th on the tour to top 40.
Yeah, it's staggering that
So I was just trying to remind them that they were saying they're so far away, and the coach is like, not really. You're not that far away. You're actually closer than you realise, but you're
yeah,
beating yourself up. But it's still to make that one shot around, to make that extra putt per round, it's
yeah.
still very tough, right?
But I don't think they work enough with data, actually. When I see Molinari at the Ryder Cup and the sheer data he produces and that's how they got the teams right compared to the US. So no, he's. I just sometimes don't think they look enough at their data.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, I know myself when I'm playing. There's definitely times where I go out with a plan on certain holes. And I play off one. I'm nowhere near that level. But there's definitely times I'll do it, and it's like I've got nothing on the line. I'm just playing an amateur tournament, and my brain goes. So you can imagine with the top pros, you're like, "What you doing?
Yeah,
Why are you hitting driver there? Are you crazy?"
yeah. The other things I think uh, uh, professionals do is they practice what they're good at.
Yeah,
Someone who's a great striker of the golf ball, they love nothing better than standing on the range all day hitting. It's great. But what's their weakness? That's what they should be working on, and only the data will tell you what your weakness is.
yeah, absolutely. So, some other questions, Martin. Best course, or maybe the top three you've ever played, and what stood out about them? Yeah, I'm sure you get plenty of choice.
I mean, I played Augusta, so that's been amazing. I
Yeah,
played Pine
that'll
Valley.
probably be the top.
Yeah, I played Pine Valley. That's amazing. But then there's nothing beats St Andrews.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. And then is there a course you'd love to play but you haven't made it to yet? Anywhere you
Yeah, I'd love
haven't
to
made it
be.
to?
I'd love to play these West Coast American ones. The Pebble Beaches and Cypresses of this world. That's still on my bucket list. I must do that. Get
We
myself
need to get
organized.
Pebble
Get
Beach
myself
Pro-Am. You've
organized.
played the Dunhill Cup so many times, you just need to get on the Pebble Beach Pro-Am.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I suppose Cyprus. Yeah, you want to play Cyprus, don't you? But I've
Brilliant.
got plenty of people I know, so it's just laziness on my part.
Fantastic. And final question, Martin. Most nervous you've ever been on the golf course?
Gosh, I suppose, yeah, playing in that last round with Paul Laurie is by far and away the most nervous, especially coming up 18. I was playing with the other pro was the other amateur was Carl McLachlan, of Sex and the City fame, and he hit his ball out of bounds on 18, and they said, "Do you want to play another one?" He said, "No, I'm just
I'm out.
walking." I'm watching Paul on 18. Yeah, it's just amazing.
Fantastic. Well, listen, Martin, it's been really great to have you on. I appreciate everything you've done and still do for Scottish golf. Thanks for coming on. Really great to see you. Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thanks very much.
If you enjoyed this episode, please follow Link by Golf on your favourite podcast platform, leave a review and share it with someone who loves golf and people's journeys. You can also find the show on Instagram at LinkByGolf2024 for future episodes, clips and insights. I'd like to thank Martin Gilbert for joining me and for his outstanding contribution to Scottish golf. I'm Ross McGuire, thanks for listening.
Lomond Golf Tours have helped thousands of guests build bespoke golf trips to create a magical experience. Travel in style with our executive chauffeur travel, whether it's golf on a major championship venue or one of our hidden gems, 5-star accommodation or a boutique bed and breakfast, or is it whisky tasting on a private boat? Lomond Golf Tours are here to help build the tour of a lifetime. Whether you're celebrating a special occasion or ticking it off your bucket list, embark on a trip that you'll remember forever. To learn more about our offerings for 2025 and beyond, visit www.lomondgolftours.com.